Made in Japan. Breed.
What's up, everyone? We're pumped to announce Ford's Drift to Dirt Sweepstakes, where you can win your choice of a newly redesigned 2021 F-150 Raptor featuring Fox shocks with live valve technology, 5-link rear suspension, and Recaro seats.
Or you can win a 2021 Ford Mustang GT convertible, which you can shred the tires with 460 horsepower and 6 styling.
All you have to do is head to drifttodirt.com and enter to win.
Stop your feet once again. This is the final round of the Formula Drift. Let's send it Irwindale.
I feel like I'm a dime when I'm 5'8". I feel when the fire.
That's that A game that we were talking about. A phenomenal lead run. Make some noise, Irwindale.
Rap, also so strong.
Can he regain that momentum?
You would hear me the Beyonce. Any beef gonna make it sauté. Gotta fake one winner with a hard face. Bet that put to your tongue, make your heart face. You trip, again, get your mother, nigga, hands up. You a real, again, get your mother, nigga, hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up.
Are you guys ready to send it? Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are here at the House of Drift. That means we're at Irwindale Speedway. This is the final round for not only PROSPEC, but Pro as well. 4 rounds of the Link Engine Management PROSPEC Championship culminates here this weekend. Today is all about qualifying, both PROSPEC and Pro. And again, we'll be seeing qualifying for Pro later on today. And tomorrow is all thriller, no filler. We're going to crown a Link Engine Management PROSPEC champion, and then, of course, a Pro championship under the lights. Who will it be in our 18th season of the Formula Drift Championship? And this iconic track playing host once again for 18 years in a row. I'm Jared Deanna. I'm joined up here in the booth with my friend and confidant and co-host Ryan Sage. Ryan, here we are again. The making of a great event. The forecast is saying it's going to be an absolutely perfect, beautiful weekend overall. What are your expectations? And again, a season culminating here at Irwindale.
Yeah, 2 championships on the line here this weekend. We've seen an incredible group of drivers come together and give us a number of championship contenders in both the PROSPEC and Pro Series. So really excited about that. Just thinking about the class of 21 with PROSPEC has been amazing to watch. 3 events, 3 winners. You've got Novak, Brutski, Power, all with wins this year. Yep. We saw Power have a little bit of a slower start and then came on strong last round, getting that win. But we also have Tommy Lemaire, Austin Mata that have been consistent. They're in 3rd and 4th place right now. Tommy Lemaire potentially going to take that Rookie of the Year, but he's got Alex Yeager right behind him, super close, also trying to get that Rookie of the Year. So we've got a lot of things to talk about in terms of competition, beautiful weekend here out at Irwindale Speedway. The last time we were here, it was without fans, so it was completely different experience. And this is the last event that we had to get to post-COVID to kind of make up all the things that were lost last year with, you know, the double headers and no fans and all that kind of stuff. So super grateful to be back here and looking forward to an incredible weekend.
Competition, confidence. Here is how the season standings are with our 3 previous rounds of this Link Engine Management ProSpec Championship. Dimitri Brutsky, can he go back-to-back? And we saw, as you said, Nick Novak win that first round in Orlando, and then we moved on to E-Town. Dimitri Brutsky, who is basically his home track. He loves that track. St. Louis, Missouri, we saw Mike Power. And Ryan, keep in mind, you talk about last year, Mike Power won this event here at Irwindale, and that was just, I think, a real pivotal point for him and his confidence, even coming to this year, just really kind of proving to himself that he can do it and he wants to throw down. So exciting to see just the progression of these drivers overall. And we talk about the standings, and you know, I think what are your expectations? Because in practice, we've already seen a lot of these drivers go into the wall, and this is an iconic track, and it carries a lot of weight for these drivers. What's going through their minds?
Well, I think yesterday, with the very long practice sessions that we had, drivers did have ample time to get out there, test the car, kind of get used to this track again. We do have that new wall on the last outside zone there that helps define the course a little bit better. Drivers had to get used to that. However, in the practice this morning that we just came out of, we did see, you know, quite a few wrecks. And so I'm not sure if nerves are playing a role there, if drivers are, you know, trying to anticipate something a little bit different than they expected. Here is our map that we've laid out, or the judges have laid out rather, that breaks down the sectors and the points allocation for both line and angle. Of course, style is 40 points total. We did hear from our judges last night in the post-practice drivers meeting that really the big areas where style deductions might take place is going to be on initiation and on the transition right near inside clip number 1. So we are super excited to see how the teams and drivers are going to adapt to this weekend's conditions, and really looking forward to, you know, finding out who's going to be our champion.
Yeah, again, Dimitri Brutsky has the target on his back. Our 3 judges maintained for a few seasons here in a row now. Chris Yule, Ryan Lontaine, and Brian Eggert. They will be scrutinizing the runs, both in ProSpec and Pro, for the entirety of the season. So thank you to our judges. An unenviable job, but we're going to definitely elaborate on the reasoning more going into tomorrow as opposed to today, because now it's all about single runs, put them down, and also our new format, our knockout qualifying format that debuted this year. So and let's take us through our course preview here and take a look at this iconic track that is the House of Drift.
Yeah, I believe we've got Vaughn Gittin Jr. digitized. There he is, yep. Taking a look here, this initiation is so important to kind of set up the big bank. You've got that long outer zone. We do see a lot of tire accumulate there over periods of time. We are actually going to be sweeping it right now because it does get down there and it can be slippery. That inside clip 1, super important to set up this second outside zone. Now, in years past, for fans that have been around for a long time, we'd be getting close to the end of the course now. But now, since last year, we have this last section here, and even the track map doesn't show the wall that we've added there. That is a big, long 200-foot-plus wall where a large portion of it is that final outside zone. So drivers navigate through there, punch through the finish line, and try to make the best impression they can for the judges here on qualifying day.
I think that's what you talked about, and even Lontaine was talking about it. We're talking about the walls. You know, Long Beach, there's no gray area. It's either you're into the wall too hard, you're gonna take yourself out, like compared to Atlanta. You can get into the dirt, maybe kind of get away with it, but if there's a wall there, there's no gray area. It's either you're stopping the car and disrupting the vehicle and you're coming to a halt. But that is the outside zone, outside zone 2 when they transition right there in front of the stands.
And that's a very much a historical place where we see wrecks that mostly happen in tandem, but we remember we've had a car flip down there. We've had the 50-50 grind. So really getting the timing from inside clip 1 to that second outside zone is super important. You can see the judges are painting also those vertical lines that come down to help them with the angle side of things on that first outside zone. So obviously we've got a lot of history here at Irwindale, spent a lot of time. The judges know exactly what they're looking for. And as soon as we paint these lines and get ready to go, we'll be kicking off qualifying.
Yeah, and you can see how much, rubber has been laid down on top of that. And here is the format here for knockout qualifying. Walk us through it, Ryan.
So yeah, the designated line that has been dictated by the judges, a preferred line in the drivers' meeting. Maximize angle while maintaining momentum. A big rate to angle. That is a phrase that has been used a lot this year. It was used a lot in yesterday's drivers' meeting as well. They really want to see that rate to angle quick and locked in for that first outside zone, and then of course fast and smooth transitions.
And you'll see that really kind of shine, and especially right in front of the judges. The judges are just staring right down at the crow's nest. The traditional start-finish is where that the first front clipping point is, and that's right in front of the judges, square right in front of them. So it's going to be blaringly obvious if they have some major mistakes or don't have that rate to angle. As we take a look at the pits with the price of admission, open pits and open paddock. When we come back, we'll be throwing it down here into our knockout qualifying, brought to you by Link ECU. Link ECU, the official engine management of Formula Drift. When we come back, again, we'll begin rolling, turning, and burning here at the final round, round 4 of the Link Engine Management ProSpec Championship, and of course, round 8 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship when we come back.
Your body is a machine with 800 horses coursing through its veins. Ignite it. NOS Energy, human horsepower.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
With performance this raw, you need air that's pure. We started with a firm belief that innovation could improve performance. With the success of 50 years and millions of filters behind us, we continue to look ahead. Guaranteed to protect against dirt and proven to provide up to 50% more airflow. This is filtration for the future.
No. Seriously?
Come on.
No.
You for real?
Dale.
Really?
Wow.
So maybe just a cable?
We can help you.
Welcome to America's #1 battery destination, AutoZone, your battery solution.
Link ECU produces standalone engine management technology with a range of products that allow you to unleash the power of your engine. Acting as your car's brain, Link ECUs control electronic fuel injection and ignition. A magnitude of sensor inputs and outputs ensure your engine exceeds your expectations. Built-in safety features guarantee engine protection, and data logs keep you informed on its performance. Smoke your tires, not your engine, with a world-leading Link ECU.
zip tie like this? Did you zip tie like to the oil cooler light?
It seems like you're filling the zone, but you're filling it too soon. And you need to hold off on before you actually get to the outside zone and fill it a little bit later because you're coming off of it.
We're in the yellow. Do we have another bottle? No. Tommy didn't bring bottles?
Better, getting way better. Maybe one more adjustment to the lock. And it's still binding on the lock. I think once we get that result.
As soon as my steering rack is tight, my amazing time pops to the stars. Ra-ta-ta-ta!
Hey, I knew you wouldn't miss an engine change, huh? 42 minutes right now. Yeah.
Best part? Oh, I'm guessing Taylor Hull lost his crank sensor. So he just rolls up, asks Odie, do you have a crank sensor? And he's like, yep, hold on. They're pulling one out, so. Beauty of drifting right there.
The newer one's 5 minutes and 58. Yeah.
All right, I'll get that other one tonight.
Ah, my crank sensor. And that's how it goes. Someone has it, and when you need a part and you don't have it, you know someone else has it, so it comes around.
Custom Sparkos. Dude, Odie, you gotta step up your slipper
I
game.
like these, man. Those jewelry kind of remind me of like Nacho!
Dude, you need to like.
We need to pull on
you need a little feel
El
right
Librador
there.
mask.
Hey man, it's just 3 vaccinated dudes hanging out in the
Helmet, sir. You know the weather is perfect because I haven't taken my gloves off.
We're doing this. We are doing this.
We're in Atlanta. It's round number 1.
Not bad for a rookie.
Who'd you go against?
Trenton Beecham. First win of Formula Drift Pro 1.
Because I want to go back and watch from the spotter's tower.
Okay, let me pull these burners off so I can get them swapped.
Okay.
Look, guys, 2021. You can't be laughing at stuff like that, Mario.
You need to know.
No, you can't. You're hurting my feelings.
Sorry.
My bad. Sorry, bud.
I woke up and I was like T-boning Justin in turn 1.
Yeah, I fell asleep.
I woke up and I was like,
oh, that was weird.
testing out a new angle kit, and that's his first lap on it.
That sounds like a good time to try something new.
Well, yesterday he had binding problems, and the car was like locking up, and he was just spinning. So then they said, all right, like let's just throw on another angle kit.
You just found that out?
So, yep, so they swapped on another angle kit, and I guess it doesn't
What
work.
kind of car is that? I can't. How much time you got?
1 minute.
24 seconds.
24 seconds.
What about you putting it together?
I tried. Right with when it's in the gear, it's right, but he's saying that sometimes it's not, and I get it. Sometimes, like this morning when I got in there to move it, it was like it didn't even read like a number. It was just like some weird thing. Yeah.
Personal opinion, probably need to get some properly gap new spark plugs in there and make sure the
actually work on the car.
Yeah, like
my Myron that blew the power steering line or something.
And it pissed oil all over the front wheel. So the last transition, I was like, what? Where'd the front end go?
Right here, we'll have a
Hey, we can start it here. We can start it here. Yeah, it's gonna be rad. We've had some time together.
Oh yes, we have.
We're gonna have some beers later on too.
Absolutely. Let's rock and roll, bud. Let's do it.
I bent the bash bar and toe on the rear.
Okay.
Hello. Someone's got to pay for it. I'll give you.
He'd spent all his money on the Viper and that giveaway.
I'll give you.
We're gonna need help.
Call back in a minute, right?
Well, it looks like the track is prepped. Thank you to our judges for striping it out there. Thank you as they're getting into position. Chris Ewell, Brian Eggert, Ryan Lontaine. Ryan, previous years, we start from the bottom, work our way to the top. I like it when we start out with our current points leader and then work our way down. I think it really sets it, you know, because you kind of go off this curve, right?
Won you over?
Yeah, it won me over. I like it. I mean, you're going to say you like it because it was your choice.
No, I mean, I like experimenting, and I think our competition staff likes experimenting with different formats that are ultimately going to make the competition better.
Yep.
You know, we'll evaluate whether or not we thought that was the case this year, what we want to do structurally with qualifying next year, if we want to bring back points, if we want to add something cool to it. I feel like what qualifying is intended to do is to give you the best possible bracket that you can achieve in competition, so that the best two guys in competition on any given weekend hopefully meet in the finals, and that the battles just keep getting better as you go into the bracket. I feel like that is one of the primary reasons for qualifying, is to seed the bracket accordingly. Sometimes some guys are going to be on it on the weekend, and they're going to be right up there. Other times they're not, and you know, that's why we do this qualifying. So for fans that are new this year that are joining us, we'll go through the entire PROSPEC field, then we'll take the bottom 8, and they will have to do a second lap, but obviously, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to be seated higher than the 25th or 26th place if we have 32 drivers. So we're getting here going with our Pedal Commander burnout box. 30 seconds is the limit on burnouts, so we can have some predictability, and we will get things underway with our current points leader.
Dimitri Brudski, always about never settle, and adding to your qualifying. Ideally, it's a reflection of who is on this weekend. You know, basically a car showing up, you know, are they comfortable with the track? Are they comfortable with their car? Is the car running 100%? Qualifying is a reflection on where they're at this weekend, because weekend to weekend, we've seen a different winner at each round of PROSPEC, and the variety of even winners in Pro Championship as well.
And just, you know, talking to some folks in the paddock yesterday, I did hear that some of the PROSPEC guys were having a little bit of a challenge with tire wear on that second run. So, but that will not have an impact here. We'll see this first run go down and see how Dimitri Brudski nails it.
Nice job, Dimitri Brudski. Again, our defending Formula Drift PROSPEC champion, now coming down. Look at that massive angle there, shredding that back bumper, past that first inside clip, now into that second outside zone. Look at that. I mean, you see the attitude of the car, a little shaky, but massive angle there from Brudski. Now bringing around that last and final inside clip, and here's the addition of that new outside zone. Bringing it all the way home. Brudski really showing you why he's defending champion. Like I said, some bobbles kind of as far as the attitude of the vehicle, but always keeping that car sideways.
Yeah, that was a great start and a really good standard to lay down for the remainder of the field. And Dimitri Brudski, he has been, I would say, not abnormally consistent, but Dimitri Brudski consistent this year. Always a factor, trying to get that repeat. You can see him coming off of the big bank here. Great angle as he wraps around. Now the drivers really want to see the front of the vehicle pointed up to the grandstand when they hit that inside clip. So getting that timing is right. You can see a slight little adjustments, but he is taking a risk by getting deep into the zone, staying to that wall. And I think this part right here is executed very well. Back bumper right up against the wall. Good throttle commitment all the way through and finishes strong.
And the front wheels, especially on that last outside zone, you saw all black. You know what I mean? You didn't see the silver of the wheel, so you know, just right there, kind of eclipsing the rim. So that was a great job there by Brudski. And you can see the hot pits down there as they have their standardized pits back off track, but these are the hot pits that the teams have set up for if there's an incident that goes down right here on track. And we can see the FCP Euro tent. That's where Dimitri Brudski threw it down, awaiting the scores from our judges. Again, our 3 judges. Chris Yule is, again, we have our line, angle, and style. Chris Yule, he is style judge. He is a style judge. What is it? Brian Egger is line, angle, and then angle is done by Ryan Lontaine, and Chris Yule is style. Coincidentally, Dimitri Brudski gets an 85. His car number is an 85, so an 85 for Dimitri Brudski on his first run. Next up, Nick Novak from Las Vegas, Nevada. Very soft-spoken driver, but I got to tell you, this gentleman is far from soft-spoken when it comes to his driving. We saw him earlier in practice. He is really throwing down. Watch for some amazing driving here in the second outside zone. This squirrel works. What's that? Super sweet. Yeah. Like his style. Physically a big dude, so seeing him just manhandle this car. Look at that. Shredding that back bumper. Nice job on that first outside zone. Obviously could have been a little higher, but I think that's good. I think that's a smart approach. Play it safe, but, you know, Brudski, I think, a little more aggressive, but look at this angle. Like you said, smooth, good line. Look at that, barely just wrapping around that inside clip. And now in that last and final outside zone, swings it on in. Just drifts it, slides it right in. Gets a little closer on the outside zone towards the latter portion of it, but overall a great run there from Nick Novak and the Cora Works E46 BMW.
Well, we saw the 85 from Brudski, so the judges giving themselves about 15 points of headroom here for drivers that may make an improvement over what Brudski did. Let's take a look here on the onset. Nice little initiation there. Rate to angle was pretty good. He's kind of mid-high line, then he starts working his way up the bank, trying to fill that thing for as long as he possibly can. Nice momentum coming into that first inside clip. Slight little adjustment there, locks up the fronts. Could be a little bit deeper into that second outside zone, but super tight on that second inside clip. Good transition back around here. Doesn't fully commit to the beginning part of the zone in the deepest part, but starts moving closer to the wall as he progressively gets towards the finish line. Here's the big bank once again. You can see Jared, he kind of started that midline and worked his way up, then started coming down off. The judges really want to see you be on the wall from start to finish of that zone. Here's the backside look going into outside zone 2. You can see he's leaving a little bit of room there. So certainly some areas where there will be some point deductions, probably primarily for line. And as we said yesterday, or excuse me, as we said in the start of the show, Chris Yule, the style judge, is really focusing his point deductions for style on initiation and on inside clip number 1.
Awaiting the score for Nick Novak. TLO, Tommy Lemaire. TLO Drifting School. S14.5. Come to us from Canada. In that Pedal Commander burnout box. And Nick Novak with an 88, so he betters it just slightly. Currently second in points, but jumps up and grabs that #1 spot from Brudski. And there we go, TLO pulls to the line. Link ECU Pro 2 Championship.
Great event for him coming out of St. Louis, securing 91 points. That's what has currently put him in 3rd place and in the lead for Rookie of the Year, with Alex Jaeger just behind in 6th place, about 61 points back. There are 13 drivers, Jared, that mathematically can win the championship this weekend. That's going to tighten up after qualifying.
Oh, yeah.
But we are seeing just how competitive this field is.
Look at TLO coming in hot. Really aggressive. You can hear just that exhaust note. Really pinned to the floor. Now the second outside zone. Again, another phenomenal job right there. Really getting all of that second outside zone. TLO is on a mission. Wow. TLO, RIP to those tires. Wow. Tommy Lemaire really going for it here in Irwindale. We talked about that confidence, you know, and making sure when the stars align, it seems like his car is running 100%.
Yeah, I think even if you're a brand new fan to the sport, if you watch those 3 runs back to back to back, you can tell there are specific areas on this course where Tommy outperforms the other drivers. Now, it's going to be the whole package. How does he get it together? But see the angle and the commitment there on that first inside clip. And then that sets him up almost perfectly for this second outside zone. He was in the zone at the right time. He went right up against the wall. He didn't really have a lot of fluctuations in the vehicle, and he kept the commitment strong through that final outside zone as well. Here it is again from that inside clip. Lots of angle, using the car's angle to slow down, as opposed to something that we can visually see adjusting the attitude of the car, a big e-brake pull or abrupt braking. The judges really like when you utilize your driving skill, putting more angle in the car to slow the vehicle down. You can see he just had a very, very small little e-brake there, but it didn't affect his forward momentum, and that's a really key factor in the way that the judges look at the overall commitment for style.
The Type S title fight here in both the Link Engine Management ProSpec Championship and the Pro Championship. A 93, look at TLO, comes out swinging. Well done there by car number 233, Tommy Lemaire. Look at that, leaving 1 point. Wow. So does that equate properly? Yeah, I believe, actually, I'm hearing that it should be a 94 It was a 27 from Brian Egger, the line judge. So actually it is better there. So the graphic does not reflect that of the actual score. So it's a 94, so he betters it by even 1. Yeah, it was a 27 there from line. It does matter. Austin Matta coming up, throwing down in that Pedal Commander burnout box. Austin, again, another ferocious driver. Let's see how this tire stacks. S chassis. Don't Matter Racing, Nissan S14 from Minnesota, Shakopee. Austin rolling off the line, GT Radial, the official tire of the ProSpec Championship. And here goes Austin. Man, these guys are just really coming out swinging. Look like Austin rolling it up a little closer to the wall in the ladder portion. Great transition there now into that second outside zone. Ryan, I'm really thoroughly impressed with the ProSpec drivers. This is just a great testimonial to the progression of what's going down. Oh, and just as I say that, Ryan, I believe that. So we didn't elaborate on what's deemed an incomplete, but if you can recall, I mean, that very well might be an incomplete with that correction.
Yeah, I think so, Jared, and I heard at least one judge kind of say that explicitly. So we did see a couple mistakes, or maybe a little bit less on the commitment side coming down into this first inside clip, but I don't know that it's really going to be a factor at all. Right here, as he transitions, see, it's a slower transition with not a lot of angle, and he kind of had to make that adjustment to get into that outside zone. Whereas if from the run that we just saw from Tommy Lemaire, really coming through there quickly, but with a lot of angle and then slowing down. But I do believe that this is going to be an incomplete, and unfortunately he will be relegated to the bottom 8.
Yeah, so as I was just giving him praise there, announcer's curse sets in. The fourth driver here, currently fourth in points, will have to be deduced to the bottom 8, as I like to say, the not so great 8 in slang terms. So yep, massive correction there, and that will unfortunately be gifting him an incomplete. That will be a 0 on his first run. And there is Tommy Lemaire's correction to the score. That is official now, 27, 29, and 38. You can see 30 points available in line, 30 in angle, so just shy of being perfect in angle, and style, just a few points as well. Mike Power, the Power Racing MA Motorsports Nissan Silvia S15 from Port Jeff Station, New York. He won this round last year, and like we were talking about in the show opener, Mike Power gained a lot of confidence, I tell you what. And just with every turn of that vehicle and every turn of the tire, he just gets more and more, just seat time. And right now, Mike Power showing up. Look at that, split in the wing. Coming out into that second outside zone.
I think he's reached the top of that gear.
Yeah, that thing is absolutely hitting the rev limiter. He takes out that second inside clip. It'll be a deduction, it won't be an incomplete. And this is all, you can hear that rev limiter being tapped. Finding the right gear, we don't really prefer the kind of tapping of that. I mean, again, that's not a reflection. It's not gonna be reflected on the score, but just about throttle control.
Well, let's get a look from above here. Out of the gate, you can see he does stay pretty deep into that zone. A couple little movements there, some wavering. Had a few moments where he was trying to get locked in. Good little move here on that inside clip. Back on throttle right before that second outside zone. Progressively moves deeper, then comes off right at that 90-degree portion of the outside zone marker. Here's the final outside zone. Leaves a little bit of a gap there towards the middle, but good smoke line developing and better commitment there towards the end. So we'll see what the judges think about that. We've seen a couple mid to high 80s and incomplete, and that 94 is the standout run so far. So where is this going to slot in with the remainder of the field?
Where you go, you're a pretty good judge of judging.
I wasn't doing the process in my head. so I wouldn't be able to give you any kind of crystal ball on
High,
that one.
high or low? Do you think it's better than TLOs?
Oh, it's lower than that.
Okay. Yeah, TLO, just the way he didn't necessarily drag bumper, but the way he filled those outside zones was very impressive. But I got to tell you, Mike Power is really one to watch. And there we go at 83, so considerably down there. So at 20, look at that, the angle way down there, 21 out of 30, and Style 35 out of 40. So 83 there for Mike Power.
And that's it. It's really interesting, the Style portion there, because Chris Yule is focusing the majority of his deductions on the two areas that we told you guys about at the beginning of the broadcast. You're going to see sometimes a lot of Style scores that seem higher than you would maybe guess at. But when you get those Style scores that are 37, 38, 39, 40, it means that person did a few extra levels. We're going to see a lot of 35s, 34s, 33s as just kind of like a baseline.
Yeah. So this vehicle, Alex Jaeger, he is coming to us from New Jersey, the Forsberg Racing Tire Stacks Nissan 370Z. Let's see what Alex can do. He's, again, another driver really made a name for himself. Initiates on the bank. You can see the front tires, a little burn in there, smoking them up. Alex, small little correction coming out of that first outside zone. Past the first inside clip, and there was some more angle at it. Look at that. Really good angle there. Look at just slowly kind of ticking it in there. So the rate to angle, I'd like to see him kind of set it and forget it as opposed to pouring some more on. Really well done there by Alex on that last outside zone. All right, so let's take a look at it again here, Ryan. Alex.
Getting that jump out of the gate, kind of a moderate initiation. You can see those lines painted on the big bank are a really useful judging tool to kind of identify where the vehicle is on the course. He had a little bit of a flub there coming off the bank, trying to get that commitment back. Second outside zone is able to fill this much better. You can see he's still kind of tweaking the car a little bit. Slight little fluctuation there. And into this final section here, the commitment there was a little bit, I think just a little bit down. I'd like to see him get a little bit deeper into that zone and kind of commit to the wall. I know it's definitely scary to do that, but this will be a score well above the marker needed to get him into the top.
It'll suffice.
It'll suffice. It's not going to relegate him down to the bottom 8. But you know, gotta call it like you see it.
Gotta call it. That's what we do. Again, unenviable position of the judges, but scrutinizing, you know, each of their one of their three categories: line, angle, or style. All right. Let's see what Alex has here for us, score-wise, and we are seeing Joshua Love. Josh Love, and here's Alex's score with a 79. 79 there.
And Jared, just to give you kind of an idea of how far Jaeger is from Tommy Lemaire with regards to the Rookie of the Year, it's just under 40 points, or right around 40 points. So a couple positions there, and the battle could be flipped really easily.
Yep. All right. Here's a little love for you. Josh Love, the After Hours Autosports E46. Now living in Denver, Colorado. Josh Love has for us. Initiates into the bank. A little lower than what we've seen from the previous drivers. See how he handles the transition. About the third hash mark. So definitely needs to tighten it up. Fails to get all the way outside. Wonder if his car is not 100% or if just a little timid, maybe a little gun shy, Ryan.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Crawling into that last outside zone.
Unfortunately, you kind of called out the most apparent aspect of this run, and I think it's going to basically evaporate the line score, because really there was not many areas on the course where a judge could say, yeah, he did that correctly. The big bank down super low, was not really able to stay up there. You might be right, there may be something wrong with the vehicle. This is definitely not the standard Josh Love that we see. You can see it comes off very early there. And then right here on this inside clip, you can see those 3 hash marks. He's way down below that, and that causes him to stay way on the inside on the second outside zone. So areas where the zones are painted and the judges want to see you inside those zones, he wasn't really doing that. Second hash mark there, a little bit better. He's starting to kind of reel it back in here. But I would not be surprised if there was some issue with the vehicle, because it does seem to be a little bit atypical on the driving here for Josh Love.
Now let's see what we get from Josh Love as he makes his way back to the pits. Up next should be Rich Whiteman of Freedom Motorsports JZX 100. Let's see. Yeah. Looking over the Regenstein. Okay, so Ryan, we're starting to see some scores dropping here. I'm seeing a trend, but Josh Love with a score of 66. Score of 66 there for Josh Love.
That's a tough one, and that could be right at the threshold there.
You're flirting with going to the not so great 8.
I think you know, if memory serves correct, it's right in that 65 to 73 kind of ballpark that we've seen over the course of these.
Nearly not passing. If this was it would be like a D minus.
Right.
That's where, you know, you're gonna fail, and you're gonna have to go to summer school. So, you know, summer's in session with the not so great 8, the lower 8, right? So, you know, you didn't pass the class, so you got to go to summer school. All right, Rich Whiteman on the start line. The Freedom Motorsports JZX 100. And here comes Whiteman. Going to start chicane. Focus it, but not a big deal because we're not in head-to-head battles. Now Rich throws it in. Oh man, he is getting up into that wall. He was flirting with some massive tragedy there. But now comes out, lacking some angle. Now comes in that second outside zone. It's really intimidating if you're not online and you don't have that confidence in your back pocket. Coming to that second outside zone, as you said, Ryan, a lot of accidents have happened. But it looks like he tightens it up towards the latter portion of the track, but still leaving some points on the board.
Yeah, you've got to appreciate the kind of commitment to the razor's edge there on the big bank, but he kind of went over the line a little bit past the threshold, got right up there. You can see he was flirting with the wall, had to make that adjustment, come down off the bank, and that started to kind of set the tone for the run. He's trying to get back, get rebalanced, get back in the pocket here, but he's missing this second outside zone as well. He just has those rear 2 wheels just on the inside of the line. Better job on that inside clip. Nice little transition back around. And this final outside zone, good commitment there. He looked the most stable in that final outside zone. Seems like he was kind of pulling it together towards the end there, but definitely we'll see some deductions for the first and second outside zones.
All right, so Rich Whiteman awaits his score. Josiah Fillets up next. Drift HQ, FDF Race Shop S14. There's Rich Whiteman. You can see Blake Olson off in the distance. Coilworks GT Radio race suit. See Stookie. What Rich Whiteman comes up with. Josiah Fillets should be in. Yes, you can hear the car revving up. Rich Whiteman with a 73 for Rich Whiteman. And here's Mr. Fillets, Drift HQ, FDF Race Shop, S14. And Josiah Fillets coming to us from Trenton, Ontario, another Canadian ripper from the Great White North. And Fillets is clear to go. You can see Matt Sopa, our starter. Go for it when you are ready. Send it. Mr. Flames on his qualifying run. So similar line there to Josh Love. We saw him kind of down on the bank. Really hammering down, but just not enough. Now comes in to that second outside zone. You can see just about a few feet off. Fluid has definitely a good style to it. And now comes that final outside zone. A lot of the drivers nailing that final outside zone. I think that's a great addition. Just adding that wall just gets rid of any, doubt as far as their line with the wall there, as the wall always wins. You fought the wall, and the wall will always win. What do you make of Falais's run there? Pretty comparable to Josh Love's, unfortunately, especially in that first outside zone.
Yeah, had a couple areas where definitely some high marks, but again, the commitment, I think, on the style side is definitely going to be hit. The fluidity maybe a little bit as well, so it'll be interesting to see if he does dip down below that kind of 35-point threshold on style. On the line side of things, yes, not a full commitment to the line. You saw obviously something very overt there, like hitting that inside clip with the middle of your bumper. That's not good. But many of the drivers really do seem to have that last outside zone a little bit more dialed. We are seeing what you want to see on the other zones on this last outside zone, where you're committed right at the beginning and you're taking that back bumper and riding it right up against that wall all the way through. So for that part, tremendous job.
Right. That first outside zone emoji's kind of like, I don't know, that one. And then right towards the end, it's the pinched fingers. As scores are in here for Josiah Falaise, and that's a 78. A 78 for Falaise.
Had a tremendous event at Englishtown. Got that 80 points to his overall total. He's got 167 right now in the championship, Jared. That actually only puts him 80 points out. So that's why we're saying 13 potential mathematical contenders for the championship. But as these qualifying positions get put into stone, we're going to see that probably compressed down to maybe, I would say, the top 6 or 7 guys, which is still a lot.
Yeah. Evan Bogovic piloting a vehicle that might look familiar to you as far as this field suspension, S chassis. And here is Bogovic on the start line. Comes into this round sitting 10th in the championship. Field suspension, Bachis Motorsports S14 from Roseville, California. At the lead start line. S chassis goes down. Works his way a little bit higher. Now comes down off that first outside zone. Pretty safe angle there, but then look at that, throws a lot at it, but comes off the wall way early, Ryan. And you can see that line, kind of that corner being cut, throws him off of that second inside clip. And like you said, just kind of put an exclamation point on the run with that final outside zone.
Yeah, and what's noticeable, and you have to remind yourself of this, but it becomes apparent once you start paying attention to it, is that this way that the sound amplifies at Irwindale Speedway is actually another really good tool that the judges can use. And you could really hear his car in the areas where he was off throttle, where he should have been on throttle. One part was on the big bank, and it looks like he was just getting a little bit caught up there. But we're still seeing, some of these drivers not fully commit to these high point areas of the course, most notably the first and second outside zone. The easier parts of the course, in quotes, the drivers seem to be doing really well. But as he pushes wide there on that inside clip, you can see the line suffers, and he's got to work his way back. He's not really able to get a tire in the zone until halfway through that final third outside zone. So we will definitely see some big deductions there. It might be enough to get him in. Looks like, our marker is going to be, like you said, between 65 and 75. And, that's been pretty consistent over the course of these 4 rounds.
And you can just see, and this is we talked at the beginning of PROSPEC qualifying on why I like the format of our current points leader going first, because they can see kind of, where the current points leaders are at. They're there for a reason, right? So they're driving prowess. A 68 for Evan Bogovic, and they'll see what the judges' expectations are. You know what I mean? So they're driving, obviously, appeases the judges and the criteria.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's a really interesting point to kind of note as we take a look at the sector map here. We got the color-coded zones, equal point allocation, but you can see that when you add up the parts of the first outside zone, you do get an insight, or you get some insight to how important that zone is for the judges, in particular for line and angle. But then on the style side, getting that initiation so you can get those full commitment points, and then trying to stay fluid throughout the course, because that is part of style that's actually judged from start to finish.
All right, coming right from here in Riverside, California, the Hold Fast Black Rifle Coffee Company, GT Radial BMW. See Micah Diaz. Micah Diaz initiates. You can see him. He's dropping pretty low there. We need him to hold fast and hold it to the wall. Coming out into that first inside clip. Great angle from him. That looked really nasty in a good way. Now in a second outside zone. A lot more dialed. Can't even see the back half of that car. A lot of smoke being pumped out of that BMW. So that wide swing past that second inside clip. So it gets out of shape. Right, definitely smoky, styly, but not putting the car in all the right places, unfortunately, for Mr. Diaz.
Yeah, I'm wondering, you know, we do have a handful of banked ovals in the series. I think the general consensus is Seattle and Irwindale are the most intimidating. And I think for a lot of the ProSpec guys, if they haven't driven here before, it is a little bit scary to go out there and throw your car at 85, 90 miles per hour right up against the wall. So, you know, when you do see that commitment, I think it's very well received by the judges. But, you know, missing that outside zone in very key areas. The second outside zone, he kind of started in the right place, but he stayed in the middle of the zone and then down on the bottom of the zone towards the latter half. So he's going to get some point deductions there. On this final outside zone, he's able to get in at the beginning and do it much better. So we are seeing maybe, I don't know if it's a sense of relaxation or more comfort in that area, or a good visual approach, but that last outside zone, we're seeing more than a handful of drivers kind of nail that in a much better way.
Yeah, I think it's just not as intimidating. You know, they know they can just bring it in. It's flat. You know, it's a flat portion of the track. It's a wall ride. I mean, all the drivers that are competing here, that is kind of your traditional wall ride. So I think that's a testament to, obviously, you know, just kind of a standard outside drag, and that's where they make it. That's where they make it look easy, as opposed to that big bank. It's, you know, the monster. That thing's gonna eat you up.
Any predictions on how many times it's gonna gobble this weekend?
No. You know, here in ProSpec, you know, I feel like anybody who's gonna go into it has already gone into it in practice, unfortunately. You know, trying to fix their vehicle and get back out there, but. I think in tandem we're going to see some big bites, some big chomps. So 68 there once again. That's back-to-back 68. So Bogovic, Micah Diaz. So flirting with that not so great 8 again. And if this was, you know, 100 points, you get an A++, right? And then working your way down, that would be like a D+ for Micah. We'll see if that's enough in order for him to pass the class. Still is passing, but we'll see if we're grading on a curve here. Daniel Stuckey, M-Spec, S-Chassis. Let's see what Daniel's got. Comes in hard into that. Nice job there. Now he works his way to the top. Quick little waiver there, but he maintains the height on the bank. That's exactly what the judges are looking for. Smooth past that first inside clip. And Ryan, you talk about the first outside zone kind of being intimidating. I think it's that second, because if you are not lined up, you'll hit that knuckle right before you go into that second outside zone. And look at Daniel. Damn, Daniel back at it again with Irwindale. Well done there by the M-Spec driver.
Yeah, he definitely pieced together a pretty solid run there. The mistakes are more minimal, just areas of emphasis and shading, really. Let's take a look at the initiation. Drops down, gets right back on throttle at the beginning of the zone. So that there's high marks there. A couple little movements with the front end, but the commitment to the depth of the wall, I think, was pretty strong there. Now coming back around to that inside flip, using that angle to slow down, very minimal e-brake. Stays committed, mid-high line, almost the entire car into the zone. So great job there. And I think this is going to rack up quite a few points. He's going to put himself, probably in the top 10 easily by the time it's all said and done. So good performance there by Stuckey, and looking good.
All right, so Daniel waits to score. Next up, Steve Misko, Misko Motorsports, Tire Stacks S14. And, nice, bright, beautiful day here at Irwindale, and I threw my heat waves on, man. The white smoke, I'm just like squinting so bad. So, and I know your eyes are sensitive too, but I take these things off. I feel like I look mad. I look angry. So I'll throw the shades on. But again, a beautiful day, and just again starting at the top, working our way down. What do you think so far?
It's been really good. I think there's drivers are kind of trying to get maybe some of that tension out, or the nerves. They know that really it's one and done if you do it right.
Yeah.
But trying to balance that out with making sure that you get a good positioning in the bracket, but at the same time, not taking too much risk to where your positioning in the bracket is going to be determined by the fact that you got relegated to the bottom 8, and meaning you're going to face those top contenders in the top 32. So that's the tricky part about how to figure out your strategy and where to push, where to pull back. But so far, it's been pretty fun to watch.
And we're hearing that Daniel receives an 84 for our previous driver. That is Daniel with the M-Spec Performance S14.5. Next up, Steve Misko, Misko Motorsports Tire Stacks S14.75. And Misko from Old Bridge, New Jersey. Misko looked good earlier in practice. So what he's got for when it really counts here at qualifying. Lock himself in to one of those top spots, one and done, as you said, Ryan. Comes off the bank. The echoing of that exhaust note now grabs another gear. Could definitely be closer to the wall, like the style, but gonna suffer there for line. Good angle, little yank of the handbrake right before that final outside zone. And Misko crosses that finish line. Your thoughts, Ryan?
Well, just like Power, Misko had a standout event last round. Got 80 points, finished really strong. Trying to back that up here, carry that momentum into the final event of the year. Midline on the bank starts to come off a little bit early, so not a full commitment there on the big number one. Now in number two, he does get back on the throttle pretty early, but you can see the positioning of the vehicle is way outside the zone. So the line is going to suffer there. The car was also kind of wavering just a little bit. In this final outside zone, he gets in at the right time. He's about midline there, so he's going to get about an average score for that section of the course. And we'll see how the rest of the scores come into play, where that puts him, as he tries to kind of follow up with a standout performance in St. Louis here at Irwindale.
Ryan, what were some of the thoughts from practice yesterday from Pro, obviously ProSpec, but what are some of the thoughts from Pro practice?
There's always guys that are kind of like trying to win practice.
Okay.
Which for me as a fan, I enjoy. I know that makes some people nervous.
Okay. Because maybe doing it for the gram, get some content, and also, like you say, win practice.
Yeah, it's just, we've got, I don't know, what is it, almost 6-7 hours of practice, so you see a lot if you sit around. The judges here, one of the things that they like to do is we see an 81 coming in there for Misko, 81 for Misko, is that they start to see some of the trends and tendencies in practice, and they kind of utilize that as a way that informs how they're going to approach judging for the event weekend. What are the guys, what have they done from round to round? What have they done from this round last year compared to this year? What changes are being made? What kind of speeds are going through? And we've got all this telemetry data now that we're capturing. Right. And that is what dictates the momentum map or decel zones that we'll talk a little bit more about tomorrow. Really interesting what we're seeing in there from a majority of the drivers. So yeah, practice was super informative.
Good. Ben Hobson and the full lock automotive Nissan S14.5. Hobson spinning him, leaving that start line. Hobson hops right to it. You can see him you can see that left foot brake there, that front tires come to a halt there. Full lock, full throttle. Coming to that second outside zone. Flirting with that wall right there on initiation. And now coming through that second inside clip into that final outside zone. Oh, that got a little nerve-wracking. Yeah, that looked interesting, but look at that, getting hyped.
He definitely had at least 50% of what we think about in terms of commitment with the throttle control there. I mean, pinned the entire time. Yeah. The part that he was kind of missing in certain areas was committing to, that more aggressive line up on the big bank. So I think as we take a look at the run again, you'll kind of see where he left a few points on the table, but you can certainly appreciate the full commitment on throttle control. Huge angle at that second inside clip, but let's take it from the beginning here as he comes down that back straight. Nice little snap. You can see the smoke line starts to develop a little bit later. Now he's really on throttle here, but he's outside of the line that the judges want to see on that zone. He was on the third hash mark on that inside clip. And again here, he's fully committed to the throttle. Massive angle coming off, but he doesn't really get deep into the zone until the end of the zone. So we are going to see some deductions on the line side. This last outside zone, I like the approach. It looked dangerous, but he pulled it off, and he was very, very committed to that last outside zone. So great job there.
All right, we got Kelsey Rawlings, one of two females drifting here in the ProSpec Championship. Her and Amanda Sorensen. Kelsey, another driver that showed up in St. Louis in a great way. Kelsey Rawlings finishing 15th. Waiting for Ben Hobson's score. Top One Oil S chassis. Kelsey Rawlings warming up the GT radials in the Pedal Commander burnout box. Hobson in the bottom right-hand corner waiting the score. And that will be a 77 for Ben Hobson. 77 for Ben Hobson. And there's Kelsey Rawlings on the start line. Let's see what this Floridian can do here at Irwindale. She's had a lot of experience here over the years. Kelsey Rawlings currently 15th. Now coming down to the big menacing wall. Yeah, there we go. Oh, man. Ryan initiating, tapping the wall. Unfortunately, I think that's going to be, that's just going to, yeah. So unfortunately, Kelsey really needs to figure out what's going on with the car. But there's your first victim of the wall. And to be honest, that could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty good save, all things considered. It's going to be an incomplete. And, Kelsey has got a really big opportunity in front of her to break into the top 10 this year by the time it's all said and done. She's just about 20 points out of a top 10 ranking, and that would be a huge accolade for her program. But take a look at the back bumper here. Gets into the wall. She notices that the front end is starting to curl up towards the bank, and smartly makes an adjustment to not write the car off, but it will be an incomplete. She'll go to the bottom 8 and try to get a scored run that will get her into the top 32.
And there is our current qualifying leaderboard. TLO leads the pack. Nick Novak, who's currently second in points. Brutsky, who leads the pack, is currently third. And you got Stuckey, Power, Misko, Jaeger, Falaise, Hobson, and Whiteman. And Diaz, Bogovic, Love, Mata. When we come back, we'll continue here with our Link Engine Management ProSpec qualifying. Hashtag FDIRW. When we come back, we'll continue here at the House of Drift, Irwindale, California.
came up a lot, it sounds. More when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about.
The Pedal Commander is the world's most advanced throttle response controller. It's a plug-and-play unit that unleashes the power of your vehicle. Has 36 total settings, is easy to install, and makes the driving experience so much more fun.
Picks up RPMs way better, kind of like a race car, it responds.
Order now and use code FD2021 for $30 off your purchase.
All right, welcome back here where you fly over the House of Drift. Look how much rubber's been laid here over the years. 18 years we've been coming here back since 2004. Playing host to the finals. This is where we've crowned a champion for 18 years, or 17 years until tomorrow night, 18th, will be crowned. As Kelsey Rawlings being pulled up on that flatbed, that will be obviously an incomplete for her. So she'll have to see what goes down and see if she can get the card back, find out what the issue is. But yeah, that's an incomplete for Kelsey Rawlings. Brian, that could have been a lot worse there for her on that wall. And you talked about, again, now it's just curse. How many people are going to hit that wall and then bam, it happens.
Yeah, no, but it was a good bit of defensive driving there to kind of be cognizant enough to understand what was going on with the car, to not fully write it off like we've seen, many drivers over the years kind of get into trouble, whether it's in qualifying or head-to-head competition, and it's just really hard to fight against that wall that does not move. Nope. Similar in scope to areas in Long Beach where it's unavoidable that you're going to be driving next to the wall, but being able to kind of have the presence of mind right there to be able to make an adjustment so that front end does not completely slam with high velocity into the wall after the back touches is something you got to definitely applaud on Kelsey's driving overall.
Yeah, I could just grab you and whip you right in the wall. We've seen some crazy incidents, and I was talking with Mike Power prior to qualifying, and he says he did that. Unfortunately, he put his team through the paces last night because yesterday in practice, he said he hit the wall, spun him around, and he hit facing the other direction. So he didn't hit that right side. He theoretically, he hit the left side. So unfortunate for Mike Power, had to put his team through the paces, but fortunately for him, he got it back together, and I believe it's 85 or 83 that he's sitting on.
Well, and you probably saw some of the photos on social media of Hooman Rahimi's car. Very, very tough hit. He said it was probably the hardest hit that he's had in a drift vehicle in his drifting career. I asked him how his neck was feeling, and he said it feels okay. But he did tell me, he was like, I almost, as I was going through my checking process, forgot my Hans.
Oh, wow.
And they wouldn't have let him go out there without the Hans, but on that next run, he crashed into the wall. So I know his team was working feverishly as we get a second look here at the sector map, point allocation for line and angle. And we're definitely seeing some trends here. We have only one driver in the 90s, and you really can tell the difference between that run and the runs that have been in the mid-80s. Just the full commitment to the two big outside zones, and then focusing on those smooth transitions, especially on inside clip one, using the angle to slow the car down, set it up, and utilize the areas where the judges know there's going to be a decel, and then not decelling in other areas of the course where it's unnecessary to do that.
Corey Talaska on the start line. Corey, here in the Med Meridian Yellow Speed E36 M3. Talaska gets busy on the course. Talaska initiates, you can see middle of that bank. Very fluid driving so far. Massive angle there in that transition. Look how quick, snaps back, but grips up, takes a very low line, on that second outside zone. Is able to hold on and get the proper line wrapping around that final inside clip and then just massaging it into that final outside zone. So a lot of mistakes there, unfortunately, for Talaska. Like the fluidity, the commitment overall, but just not, again, hitting those necessary outside zones.
And for Talaska, we have seen some really bright moments. He started off the season strong, secured 67 points in the first round, but 35 points in the next 2 rounds. So trying to get back and regain some of that momentum. And you can see with his driving here, there definitely are moments where you're like, yeah, he's on it. But then there's areas where he misses zones completely, like this second outside zone here. And it's really hard to accumulate line points if you stay outside of that marker altogether. Right here, he gets a little bit hung up on the transition, doesn't fully commit to it. And so we're going to see a slight reduction there. But on that last outside zone, he did stay pretty deep and was able to kind of navigate through that zone without too many noticeable corrections.
All right, let's see where Cord Talaska lands after his qualifying run. Will it be one and done or going to that bottom 8? Right now, we have Austin Matta and Kelsey Rawlings with their incomplete runs. Thanks for joining us here, Casual Friday, knockout qualifying format. All right, scores are in. And Corey gets a 75. That's a 75. For Talaska. And we got pretty Ricky Hoffman coming up next. Wire Care, FDF Bringers Racing, S14. Ricky Hoffman in that pedal commander burnout box. Fun, wild driver to watch. Ricky Hoffman, another Jersey from the, or excuse me, another driver from Jersey in the East Coast. And here is Ricky Hoffman on the start line. Making sure track is clear, we're clear to send. The Type S title fight here this weekend. Round 4, the final round of the PROSPEC Championship and the final round of the Pro Championship. Running through the gears, initiates high in the bank. Look at that, well done. Ricky Hoffman, you can see him very smooth and seen inside his cockpit. Very calm and collect. Massive angle coming that second outside zone. Ricky Hoffman showing up. Yes, sir. Little yank of the handbrake there. And down to that final outside zone, which a lot of drivers are nailing it, and Hoffman does it. Wow, Ryan, just late in the game, Ricky Hoffman, who currently sits 17th, really putting on a show.
Yeah, and he also is coming off of a great event last round in St. Louis, getting 80 points and trying to make the most of it here at Irwindale. You can see he sustained for a pretty long period of time on the bank, but then came off a little bit early at the end, but he was locked in angle and had very little adjustments. Nice job on that inside clip stain, right on that first hash mark. Good commitment to the second outside zone. Leaves a front bumper and the front 2 wheels on the inside of the line, just for a little portion. But this last section here, like a lot of the drivers, pretty well committed, flew it all the way through, and stays pretty relatively deep in that last portion of the track. Let's take a look at it again here from that second outside zone. Coming through that inside clip, he's on the second hash mark there. Moving back around. Just a little nitpick right there for me on that
so needy, Ryan.
Transition, but
You're
overall
so
pretty solid run from him. A couple noticeable mistakes, but comparatively speaking, I think it's going to be up there.
Yeah, that was really well done. And an 84. So Ricky Hoffman, if you can only tell the future by looking at the past, and I believe that's going to be a comfortable score for Ricky Hoffman, one and done. Remember, TLO, our current leader, with that 94. But this situation, this scenario, there are not going to be any bye runs. All right, let's see. Coming up next, Blake Olson from Las Vegas, Coro Works BMW. And Blake Olson on that start line, ready to throw it down. Always love seeing Blake Olson in the building. Let's see what Blake's got. Show me what you got. Blake comes down. See what kind of speed we got. Good initiation there from Blake Olson, the CoroWorks BMW. Snappy with the transition there. Look at that. You can see him putting some more angle into the car. Now the second outside zone. And it's just funny that that wall right there kind of bumps out. So if you don't set yourself up properly, you're staring right at that wall. Now to that final outside zone run. Look at these drivers, Ricky Hoffman and now Blake Olson late in the standings, and they put down a heck of a qualifying run.
Yeah, well, the positioning in the overall standings really doesn't speak to kind of the raw talent and driving ability that this driver has. I mean, let's remember he was one of the hottest commodities coming out of the first event of the year in Orlando, got a second place only to Nick Novak, but since that time has only secured 35 additional points, and that's why we see him right now in 18th place. The driving here is pretty aggressive. There's a couple little mistakes, but overall he puts together a pretty solid run. This will be more than enough to get him into the top 32 and stay away from the bottom 8 as he finishes up that last outside zone, locked in pretty well there. You see very little movement from the front wheel, so he's committed and confident with what he's doing there in the car, and I think it's going to be a pretty good score overall.
All right. Speaking of CoroWorks, shout out to Tyler. We're thinking of you, buddy. And Blake Olson with an 88, for Blake Olson. So Blake Olson puts down an 88. And shout out to Tyler, if you're watching. We're thinking about you there, Tyler, so get better soon, brother. All right, Chen out of Chen. We got Nate Chen, says it on his crew shirts. Let's see what we got here. All right, Nate Chen, the NCR, Nate Chen Racing Fortune Auto Committed GT86. Multiple Hot Wheels livery on Petty's car, so he kind of mimicked it here on his 86. And Nate Chen, whoa, man, look at him bring it on up. Massive angle there, kind of unwinds a little bit, flicks it in there. Look at very precarious ride. You don't want to be kind of unwound going to that second outside zone. Looks like Nate Chen found the secret sauce here in the last portion of this track. Coming off that bank, you saw a lot of kind of hesitation, almost spinning out. That got hairy.
Yeah, it was a pretty good save there. That could have been a lot worse, could have been completed, but we've definitely seen some moments from him this year where there's an indication that once he locks in, he's going to be a driver to contend with. Gets a little bit of a rough start there. He doesn't get a full commitment, and as he starts to work his way up the bank, the front end almost wants to pull out a drift there. He's able to move it back around, but he does miss that inside clip. And I'll take a look at the second outside zone as he's about middle part of the zone, so not fully committed to the wall there. And then on this last section of the course, a good transition to get to pretty much right in the pocket there, all the way through that outside zone. So finishing strong in the eyes of the judges. We'll see what score comes in here for Nate Chen as we are finding ourselves more than halfway through the overall competition or competitor bracket, competitor list. And I think we've got 30, is it 37, Jared?
I'm seeing 37 drivers on the start list. If all of them show up, obviously, you know, we'll take the bottom 8. So basically, 29 drivers will be locked, and then 3 drivers, you know, the 8 drivers will fight for 3 spots. 5 drivers will be watching from the sidelines. So an 81 there for Nate Chen. Is my math correct there?
You said 29 would be locked.
29 would be locked, so taking the bottom 8. 30, 37 drivers complete their first qualifying run, which we already have 2. So that would mean that we have 3 spots available from those 8 remaining drivers that are in the not so great 8 as I described.
Tough.
That is a tough one. This is an intimidating track, man. So Rudy Hansen here. He's supercharged LS 240SX from Pocatello, Idaho. And Rudy Hansen. And that GT Radial supercharged vehicle. Let's see what Mr. Hansen's got for us. Currently 20th in points. Pocatello, Idaho. Rudy, big flick into the bank, but it looks like the car grips up. He drops down the bank considerably, and that will be an incomplete. Very quickly, the judges signal to us that that will be a 0 for Rudy Hansen.
Yeah, unfortunately, the line that's painted pretty much at the bottom peak of the bank is an off-course marker. For this event, 3 tires off is an incomplete, and that was 4 tires off completely on the big bank. So the judges quickly turned around, flashed the universal 0 sign with their hands, and that means it's an incomplete for Rudy Hansen. He will have to go to the bottom 8. And you know, the big bank, another victim there, not in the crash way, but trying to get that right setup so you can put yourself in the appropriate position to stay up high on the bank and not let it suck you down. You can see as he initiates, the car was already pointed down towards the lower part of the bank, didn't have enough momentum to keep it up, and that white line that you see painted down there, that's an artificial line that we paint, is where the course marker is.
All right, Rudy Hansen, unfortunately, does have an incomplete. So next up, we will have Javi Martinez. Javier Martinez Jr., Discount Muffler, SDR Racing, 2F Performance, S14. There's our current qualifying leaderboard. TLO leads the pack. The only driver with a 90 so far, 94 at that.
Yeah, definitely set the standard and set it early. Doesn't seem like that's going to be overcome, so it looks like he probably will be the #1 qualifier, which is quite an accolade for him. A great way to start off this event, but we still have quite a few drivers to go. Yep. We did see some anomalies in St. Louis where, like with Robbins,
the late bloomers.
The late bloomers,
yeah,
come out and surprise you.
Just feel, hey, you know what? It's final event. Leave it all on the track, baby. Here we go, Javi Martinez, coming from Tucson, Arizona. Javi Martinez, you can see him. Some wavering up on the bank. Let's see if he ties it together here on the second portion of this track. Digs deep, nice job. Is really close to the wall in the first portion of the outside zone. Tightens it up to the second inside clip, and now bring it into that final outside zone. Not as close as we prefer. The judges are looking, but Javi Martinez brings it across the finish line.
Yeah, I have a little bit of concern that maybe he really didn't get the car to angle at the right time. He's smoking up the rear wheels, right? So he's breaking it loose, but let's see if he gets to, he does get to angle before the last standing cone, but it was not aggressive, not very committed. And you can see the wavering, and also where he's positioned the vehicle on the course is way down below the zone where the judges want you. Now he's starting to pull it back together a little bit here on this second outside zone. You can see he's got a good chunk of the vehicle inside the zone, but he's still not up against the wall. Better job on that inside clip, but you can see a little bit slow, not a really quick, snappy transition to that final outside zone, and nearly spins out past the finish line. So the judges' standard for a spin, or excuse me, for a finished run needs to be in control through the finish line, no spinning out at any time whatsoever. I think he avoided that, but it was definitely pretty close.
All right, so Javi Martinez, see where he ends up. And as you were describing there, Ryan, our 71, so currently has him into that 15th position, a comfortable spot for him. We'll see if that holds. Still quite a few drivers left. We are, again, Javi Martinez 21st. 16 more drivers left. Alex Schlegel. Alex Schlegel in the Drift HQ 240SX. Schlegel in the drop top, flip-flops, tank tops. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Let's go, Schlegel. Schlegel comes down low, works it back up high. You can hear the exhaust note. He's got it pinned as well. Now comes off that wall early, taking a shallower line around that inside clip. And that final outside zone, Schlegel. So leaving a lot of points on the board there, Ryan. Alex Schlegel and his Drift HQ 240SX.
Yeah, and he wasn't fully at speeds that we see for head-to-head competition, but got a little scary there on that inside clip. If the car is not really parallel to the wall that's up against the main grandstand, but it's pointed on a line that's going up towards the main grandstand, when they transition, sometimes they can get super close to that K-rail that we've laid down there. We've seen a number of cars over the years. Right here. See, right here, he's kind of almost like driving up, but he caught it and it wasn't really in much danger at all, but unfortunately misses more than, I would say, 50% of that second outside zone, and driving a little bit uncommitted here in this final section. Does get that left rear just right at the edge of that outside zone, but as you said, certainly going to see you know, some substantial deductions there in a number of categories.
And there is the Drift HQ setup. A couple of the boys, Fillets and Schlegel. So Ryan, you're talking about Houman Rahimi yesterday, and he was, I believe, is he able to run? Or is he completely out? All right, so Schlegel waits for his score, and next up was to be Houman Rahimi, but as you described, Ryan, Houman got into a tussle in, and speaking of Alex Schlegel, a 70, that is a 7-0 for Mr. Schlegel. Houman Rahimi will get an incomplete, or just not incomplete, but a no run there. Yeah, so yeah, Houman Rahimi still in the pits. Hopefully he can get his car together and go in the not-so-great 8. Alex Licklider on the start line. Licklider, the JAC Motorsports FRS. Skiesville, Maryland. Here we go. Alex initiates. A lot of understeer there. Oh, no. And he is way off course, Ryan. So that would be unfortunate incomplete for Alex. Licklider, Rahimi, Rudy Hansen, Kelsey Rawlings, and Austin Mata. So Ryan, we have 4 incompletes and 1 no-show, a DNS. It did not start there with Houman Rahimi.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if our bottom 8 have incompletes. Usually the advantage kind of goes to the drivers that have a score in the bottom 8, because at least they've got something to back it up.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have seen situations where 2 incompletes result in you not making it into the top 32 when all you needed to do was get a single point. So drivers definitely have to be careful. The nerves do ratchet up when you have that incomplete on your first run going into the bottom 8. You really don't want to incomplete, but you need to be able to get a good enough score in order to get one of those 3 spots.
Yeah.
That's hard to know exactly how to strategize that, but it is an off course, so it is incomplete overall for Licklider, and we'll be moving on to our next driver.
Well, our next driver was to be Lucas Torno, but we just got update that he has called his competition timeout, so the Emerald Coast Motorsports vehicle has called and utilized his competition timeout. So what that means is he has 5 minutes to work on his vehicle. You only have one of those through the entirety of the weekend, so that bleeds even into tomorrow if he does get a score that lands him in head-to-head. So, no, he's going to have 2 runs. So again, he can have, if he fixes the vehicle, pulls up to the line in 5 minutes, or is able to run in 5 minutes, that's a competition timeout, he would be able to complete a run in order to not go to the
Who were you knowing there? Were you knowing?
Yeah, but I was elaborating. I was elaborating while our director is inquiring about it to the fans, giving some elaboration while doing it.
He's telling you, like, look, this is how you got to inform the fans. Unpack it.
You know, yesterday I was in Milwaukee and my flight got pushed around all stuff, and I was in Milwaukee, had to get home, right, because I had to come here. And I literally called American Airlines and National Rent-A-Car at the same time and talking to them at the same time and elaborating, and it worked out so seamlessly.
Wait, on 2 separate phones?
On 2 separate phones. One phone I had National Rent-A-Car, American Airlines on the other, and I told them the scenario of me being in Milwaukee, having a car, need to get to O'Hare, need to get home to Ontario, and both were on it.
Oh, so you told them, like, hey, look, I'm going to talk to you both at the same time. Okay.
It was game. It was pretty player. I will tell you, somebody at Harley Davidson, the dude was watching me, he's like, that was impressive. Like, all right.
Strong performance.
Back to the action. Here we go.
That was fully
this
committed.
Is Chance Crooks. Chance Crooks? No? Who's this? Oh, I apologize. This is Derek Madison. So, I apologize. Derek, sorry, D-Mads. Team Infamous S14.5. The Fuel Lab vehicle of D-Mads coming from St. Louis, Missouri. Derek Madison absolutely possessed here. Now coming into that second outside zone. Look at the angle there from D-Mads. Well done. Oh man, look at that. Look at the smoke shooting out from that K-rail. Well done there, Derek Madison.
Yeah, that last outside zone was a bit of a exclamation point there for Derek Madison. Great job there. Really committed, right up against the wall. Is one of the better ones we've seen. But let's take a look from the beginning here. Gets out of the gate, swoops down. It's a nice little initiation there. Gets the car sideways, but is about mid-line on the bank. Not bad, and he wasn't all over the place, so at least he was committed to a line and stayed on that line. But it was about midway up. Right here, locks up the fronts, left foot braking here to position the car a little bit better in that second outside zone. Pretty good job on that inside clip. Good angle back around. And this part right here, I think, is nearly perfectly executed. He gets into the zone early. And he's hyped on it too. Got right up against the wall and stayed right there. Planted it and did not move. So I think that was a great way to kind of end that run overall. And I think the score will probably be pretty decent because even though he didn't get some of the other sections perfect, it's, I think, a little bit better than what we've seen on average. So I think he's going to put himself in a good position, maybe a top 10 qualifying number.
And Ryan, an update to the action. As I said, on the starting drivers list, we had 37 drivers. And I mistakenly said Chance Crooks and Andy Haley on the line, but that was Derek Madison. And I am informed that Chance Crooks and Andy Haley are not even in the building. So we actually have 35 drivers, which does mean that, you know, there'll only be, what is that, three drivers watching from the sidelines, and that opens it up to 5 spots out of 8. So only 3 drivers will be watching. So look at this, Derek Madison, as you said, kind of a late bloomer. D-Mads, Derek Madison with that Fuel Lab Team Infamous S14.5 S chassis, from St. Louis, gets an 83, an 83 for Derek Madison.
Yeah, 83 is definitely going to put him in the top 10. So great job there by Derek Madison.
And that's good, man. You got to think he's sitting there, kind of waiting, stewing, seeing these things going on, and then like, okay, it's my turn. Put me in, coach. And then just goes in there and swings for the fences.
Well, you know, I mean, it's not as if he's had, you know, a terrible season. He just didn't get any points last round, and that's why he's in that 28th spot. But made up for it, I think, right there. Good impact on that qualifying run. Now he's going to get himself a great slot into the top 32, and he can go rest, hang out, and watch the pro guys for the rest of the day.
Yeah, and that's what you. I'm reminded of that. Unfortunately, in his own backyard, at Worldwide Technology Raceway, unable to convert to convert. It's kind of a bummer. All right, the other female here in competition. Let's see if she can throw down a score. The Sorensen Motorsports 212 Performance BMW, Amanda Sorensen from Las Vegas, Nevada. See if she's right on the drift line with Amanda Sorensen. Big angle there from Amanda. Medium to high. In that first outside zone, really well executed on that front inside clip. Now the second outside zone, massive angle there from Amanda. Brings it past that second inside clip and past that final outside zone. Amanda Sorensen, full pull for Amanda. Really well done. Let's see what kind of score is reflected.
Yeah, that's going to be more than enough to get her into the top 32, keep her out of the bottom 8. And in fact, the initiation was, I think, a little bit better than what we've seen on average. It was a pretty quick snap, not a massive amount of angle, but you can say, you know, some high points on commitment there. Mid-lower line on the bank towards the end, does hit that inside clip, gets into the second outside zone, gets about 3 of the wheels in that zone, so fills it pretty decently, not right up against the wall, but like I said, better on average. Nice job on that inside clip. Pushes a little bit too wide there and has to make an adjustment to get back on the right line to fill that outside zone. And unfortunately, like we've seen with some of the other drivers that are filling that zone, but not the other one, she kind of does the opposite. Yeah. Better on the first 2 zones, but on the third zone, because of where she kind of transition came in a little bit tight.
Not terrible.
Not terrible at all, but just not as deep as we've seen for maybe like more than the average bunch of drivers that have kind of struggled in other areas on the course, but have done well there.
We are finding out that Lucas Torno does not make his competition timeout, meaning that 5-minute allotment, his car is unable to pull to the line and go. So unfortunately, Lucas Torno, we will be seeing him on a second run, but he does have to complete it because we figured that will be an incomplete, kind of a push to the side. Unfortunately, I mean, strategy there wise as well. I probably wouldn't have used the competition timeout. Maybe they were just kind of going in with confidence. But look at this. And speaking of confidence, an 85. So gets that number 4 spot. So well done by Amanda Sorensen. I believe that's the highest she's qualified so far this season. So well done by Las Vegas driver Amanda Sorensen. Christian Nelson coming up next. The RTS Wallace Fab Nissan 350Z, Thomaston, Connecticut. And there's our qualifying leaderboard here, the Link Engine Management. Knockout qualifying. Christian Nelson in that Nissan Z. Let's see what we got. We saw a great qualifying run from him. Was that St. Louis, I believe it was? Yeah, that was an awesome qualifying run from Christian. Let's see what Nelson's got here. Wow, look at that angle kick. Oh boy. That's not gonna happen here today. That is unfortunately incomplete.
Yeah, like Alec Robinson had that standout performance in St. Louis.
Yep.
It's not gonna be on this round, however. It was all off course on the big bank. I think maybe because he's got the front bumper off and just the behavior of the vehicle, it's probably due to some accident that he had or some problems that he's having with the vehicle there, because that's certainly not very typical from what we've seen from him. And you can see right there goes all 4 off and gets an incomplete.
And Ryan, we are hearing that another driver is not in the building. That's Brian Wadman, that Liqui-Moly S14. So Brian Wadman is not here. So 34 drivers. So now 6 spots available. Only 2 will be watching and see if we have the remaining drivers still here. So again, our drivers list at 37 slotted. And that will be an incomplete for Christian Nelson. That will be a 0 for Christian Nelson. He will go to the bottom 8. Pablo Cabrera Racing V's Performance S13. Warming up the tires, the GT radials to be specific. The official tire of the PROSPEC Championship. Also, this is the Type S title fight. Save 25% on Type S products premium customization accessories and car electronics ranging from LED lighting kits to portable jump starters to dash cams. Exclusive sale for Formula Drift fans, up to 25% off. The best-selling products, limited time only, and Sunday, October 24th at 11:59. So I'll give you details on that in just a little bit. Right now, Pablo Cabrera leaves the start line. A lot of pennies coming out of that Pablo's S chassis here as he initiates into the bank. Lower line, looking with that edge of the course, Ryan. Now coming into that front clip, nasty transition, but no, comes unwound. Ryan, that's really, he got 2 tires off, which would be a deduction, but I think he's really flirting with an incomplete on that transition past that front clip. Car's got a lot of credit.
I think he may have had an understeer there, and it was definitely, the vehicle had low angle, if not straight, for a significant period of time near inside clip. We'll double check it, but when he was coming off the bank, you could kind of start to see this brewing a little bit. See, the bank is pulling him down. Watch the front wheels right here. He's going to try to adjust. And it looks like right there, it's more of a straight than an understeer. I think that's really flirting with an incomplete. And I see some zeros coming up. So it does look like at least 2 judges are going incomplete. Is that confirmed for the 3rd? Oh no, that was for you. Incomplete? Okay. So yeah, unanimous there.
Ryan, with that, I believe we have, or we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We do have 8 incompletes, Ryan, between Austin Matta, Kelsey Rawlings, Rudy Hansen, Human Rahimi, we will hopefully be seeing here in the 2nd run, Alex Lickliner, Lucas Torno, Christian Nelson, and now Pablo Cabrera.
Right, so basically what you want to do here if you're a remaining driver is get a score.
Yeah, get a score. So this should be Carlos Arrieta. And right before we ended practice going into qualifying, Carlos got into the wall, got into the bank. It was worse than Kelsey Rawlings, but not as bad as Human Rahimi's. Hopefully just aesthetic, but that front end, you know, that's where all your critical parts are, if it's suspension or power. You know, we'll see. Arrieta. Carlos warming up his tires in that pedal commander burnout box. Just a few more drivers left. Just left, we have Carlos Arrieta, Rye O'Connor, Adam Knappich, Matthew Bystrack, and Adam Grube. And so those are the remaining drivers. So this is, as Ryan, you said, definitely would like to see, or you know, the spotters getting in the ear saying, put a score on the board, put a score on the board.
Exactly.
Yeah, just get a score. Don't spin, don't hit the wall, just keep it kosher. Carlos Arrieta about to leave the start line. All right, we have our exclusive sale here. Again, typesauto.com/FD, 25% off the hottest and best-selling products. Again, limited time only, ends Sunday, October 24th. And here we go with Carlos Arrieta. And again, you can see that front right corner, banged up, battered, bruised, the front end not on the vehicle, but looks like got the crash out of the way, and now Arrieta comes in a second outside zone. Approaching the second inside clip, big angle there, kind of overshoots it. And let's see if he can dial in on that last outside zone, and does exactly that. Again, the Insane Ways Motorsports from Alexandria, Virginia, Carlos Arrieta.
We talked about it earlier, a driver possibly not getting to angle before the last standing cone. This one, I think, is a much better example of something kind of like that. You can see he tries to get it to angle. it goes back to 0, and then he kind of reinitiates. Now, I don't know if that's going to be enough for an incomplete, but certainly it's going to be a massive hit on the style side of things. So we are seeing, okay, we're getting some zeros. And is, are we saying double initiation or what? Failed to initiate. Okay, so yeah, they're judging that as a failed to initiate, and it will be an incomplete. So not able to get some points on the board there, and will have to go to the bottom 8.
Carlos Arrieta and St. Ways Motorsports. All right, Carlos waiting for his score. Ryan O'Connor is up next. And taking a look at Carlos's. And it looks like Carlos will be receiving an incomplete. So look at that. So Ryan, we're taking more than 8, as we have now 9 incompletes.
This has not happened since Road Atlanta.
Yeah.
So we're seeing some drivers struggle here with this, you know, very challenging Irwindale course. But for the remaining drivers, just need to get a score on the board and moving right into the top 32.
Ryan O'Connor here, Ryan O'Connor, the NFR Enterprise SGF wraps. Ryan coming through in that second outside zone. You can hear the growl of that Nissan Z. Now coming into that last outside zone. And Ryan O'Connor brings him on through. And Ryan, that's kind of just what you need to do. Get a score on the board. It's not the #1 qualifying run, but it's getting in the mix.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter at this point just because of the way that the math is working out. We've already got incompletes for 9 drivers, so a score for him and any of the remaining drivers is going to move him right into the top 32 bracket. So the run itself is basically just a formality. Did the job, got it done, and he'll be moving right along as if we find out if there will be any other drivers that need to go to that bottom 8. He did his job here, and we'll be moving forward.
And as we take a look at it again, different angles there of Ryan O'Connor will get a score. So kudos to him. See where he finds himself. I mean, some of the low scores that we're seeing, I mean, 66 from Josh Love, and I know we got a better run in him. And a 67. So just right there, position 21 for Ryan O'Connor. 3 more drivers left. Adam Knapik. Oh, Grube is not running, so now 33 drivers. 33, so only 1 driver will be watching. So this is Matthew Bystrak. This is our final competitor, so, oh, it's Knapik. Gosh darn, I'm sorry. Knapik, getting a little ahead of myself there. It's Adam Knapik. Adam Knapik, 2 more drivers left. Knapik and Bystrak. All right, Knapik, he saw a good practice lap from a run earlier. Apple Valley Speedway, Optima Battery, Nissan S14. Adam Knapik, car number 51. Got a little homage to the old school Datsun livery on this vehicle. Something high. Good angle from him. Look at the attitude of the car. You can see just pretty smooth there. Yeah, kind of working the wheel a little bit, but the attitude of the car doesn't seem to be changing much. Oh my God. And just as I say that, you saw him throw some more angle at it around that final front clip, and now into that final outside zone. He will get a score, but unfortunately that mistake there mid-track on that second outside zone.
Yeah, there was a little thin ice there for a second. Could have gone, you know, into an incomplete if he didn't control it, but great job not going to that place and overall accomplishing what he needed to do, which was get a score. Let's take a look at the initiation. Pretty decent there. You can see he has a little bit of a wavering as he gets settled. He's basically lower part of the bank, so he's not fully committed to that zone. Third hash mark on the inside clip. Gets back on throttle pretty much at the right place, but he's way on the inside here, and that's where that bigger mistake happened with regards to the angle and kind of being a little bit loose there and almost losing it. But this last section is about midway deep into that outside zone, so does a pretty good job closing things up there. Looks like he will be getting a score and getting the job done.
Knappich waiting for a score as Bystrack, the Gas Factory Tire Stacks S13, will be our final driver. Again, 9 drivers with incomplete so far, and we'll take all 9. He obviously can't advance with a no score, and hopefully Houman Rahimi will get his car together. And waiting for the score there for Knappich. And looks like it's a 72 for Knappich. So already confirmed Austin Mata, Kelsey Rawlings, Rudy Hansen, Houman Rahimi, Alex Licklider, Lucas Torno, Christian Nelson, Pablo Cabrera, and Carlos Arrieta. This is our final competitor in qualifying. Is he going to be one and done? Gets a score on the board. He'll be parking it till tomorrow. Matthew Bystrack, the Gas Factory Tire Stacks S13. Bystrack. Leaves the start line, initiates. Oh, drops down, flip. Is he off? Yeah. Sorry, I'm watching the call on the screen, and unfortunately, yeah, Bystrack, he is off course. Below the course line, so there's another driver. Unfortunately, so 10 in total with incompletes. Just goes to show you how difficult this course really is, Ryan. I mean, again, just a lot of these drivers have, you know, seen it, you know, online. They've watched Formula Drift, and some drivers have actually been here in the building. But overall, you know, we are intended to take the not so great 8, the bottom 8, right? So we have a field of 33 drivers overall. Only 1 driver will be watching from the sidelines, but now we're taking 10 vehicles because we have 10 incompletes that are going to have to complete a second run and definitely get a score. Otherwise, we might have some bye runs.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tricky here, actually, because I feel like the pressure is amplified when you go to the bottom 8, and then another layer on top of that if you've got an incomplete. Now, everybody has that situation, so they're all kind of on equal playing field there, but the importance of trying to get a score and a high enough score for those spots, you know, is definitely a very pressure-filled situation.
Yep. So it's all about handling the pressure here. Again, every driver in ProSpec has either completed a run or is defaulting to it. But here is a look at our leaderboard as TLO. He's got the #1 spot. You know what? He might, if you know, we don't get drivers, if we don't get 8 drivers, then we're going to be seeing a bye run here for TLO. So that's a nice coveted spot. So we'll see 10 drivers complete their second run here at the Link Engine Management ProSpec Championship. This is the Type S title fight here at the House of Drift, Irwindale Speedway. again, this is the final round of the Formula Drift. Let's send it Irwindale. That's that A game that we were talking about. A phenomenal lead run. Make some noise, Irwindale. All right, so as we are seeing, it says the bottom 8, but it's actually the bottom 10 here for our Link Engine Management ProSpec qualifying. So we're getting prepared here. We'll see Austin Mata, who is currently 4th in points coming to this round of competition. So it does Mata, even though his team name is Don't Mata. So, and again, don't forget the Formula Drift After Party, October 24th. That is here Sunday, gates open 10 a.m. Autograph session 11, opening ceremony is 11:45. So we'll see you out here. Tickets are $30 here at the House of Drift. So there's the schedule. All right, we are getting ready again for our not so great 8, in this case, the not so great 10. The new Torque Drift FD Irwindale layout is now live for this weekend's title fight. Battle your way to the top and get ready to burn some rubber with Dan Burkett, Adam LZ, Chelsea Denofa, and more of your Formula Drift pros. Free to play on iOS, Android, and PC. So download Torque Drift now. Rip up the tracks on hashtag FDIRW now. Ryan, these drivers, you know, this is, I would say one and done, but this is second or they're done. You know, their second run, if they don't show up, they will be watching from the sidelines. And this could be huge for Austin more than anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we are getting some action over there from Austin Mata. He'll be the first driver up, Jared. Now, you would expect that this should be a breeze for him. He's had some good competitive success, but you just never know in this bottom 8, you know, what drivers are dealing with. And, you know, we are starting to see some of the shade come out, track conditions a little bit changing. It's been, you know, about an hour or so since your last run, you know.
I like what you, but I'm just imagining a pressure cooker. You said the pressure, just, you know, dang it, I didn't do it in the first run. Like you said, you're gonna ice for an hour. All those elements just come into play.
Sometimes people nail it, right? Like think back to JTP Run 2 at Road Atlanta.
Yep.
He ended up getting the highest score of the event, but he incompleted on the first run. Like some people just knock it out of the park.
Yep.
But you know, and there's people that just thrive off the pressure. You know, they perform better.
Absolutely.
But in this case, you know, you just never know what the circumstances are going to bring, and so we'll get our first driver up, Austin Mata, here to see how we can do here in the bottom 8.
Yeah, because there's a factor like, is the car 100%, right? So, you know, is his mind right? We'll soon find out. Austin Mata, Don't Mata Racing, Nissan S14, throws it in. All right, there we go, working a little higher here. Now, clean transition, coming to second outside zone. Looks like Austin found the sweet spot. Now past that inside clip. So again, even though he puts down a score, it does not guarantee he's in the show, right? Because he could get beat out. Say all 10 drivers get scores, and if he's number 10, you know, out of the 10, he's going to be knocked out because there are 33 drivers. There's one driver out of these 10, and you know, say it could be Human Rahimi who doesn't pull up to the line.
Yeah, it doesn't guarantee, but I would, if I was in this pack, I'd much rather be, you know, 10 guys fighting for 9 spots than 10 guys fighting for 2 spots, right? Then it becomes much more strategic in terms of, I really do need to lay down the best run that I can because I've got 1 spot or 2 spots to fill. In this case, I think Austin Mata is on the probability side. He's pretty much locked in here.
Yeah.
This is a great run. It's going to be a high-scored run, and it'll put him in a good competitive position against the remaining field.
Yeah, absolutely. Ticked all the boxes, obviously just leaving some points out there on track, but overall that was a good fluid run. Some room for corrections, but like I said, you know, I was getting a message from somebody that works with Hooman Rahimi. He says that they're going to try to make the second run, so that could be a real deciding factor. If, you know, the other 9 remaining drivers get a score, that means that they would be in. So next up will be Kelsey Rawlings. Kelsey Rawlings, who got into the wall. And there is Kelsey pulling up to the start line. And just awaiting the scores here. All right, and it looks like that's an 87 there for Austin Mata. So he does do a solid run there. So that's a great vote of confidence. That is more than likely going to find himself in head-to-head competition. So he can kind of breathe a heavy sigh there for Austin. And now Kelsey Rawlings said she got at the wall. Hopefully the car is 100%, keep 100. Top one oil. S chassis. There we go. Oh, and Ryan, that is not looking promising. Ryan, I believe this is going to be incomplete for Kelsey Rawlings, and that's going to be a huge shock to the system, unfortunately, for Kelsey.
Well, it was approximately the same part of the track, different mistake this time around. Last time, it was the wall that was problematic. This time, the angle that she had and how the car was moving around forced her to basically lose all angle on the bank and essentially incomplete the run. And I'm pretty sure that that's going to be confirmed. We'll take a look at how that happened, but she seemed like she was not fully locked in there. The front end wanted to go straight, and she got enough angle in the car where it became uncontrollable, and then basically had an incomplete from there. Let's take a look at it. You see the initiation, starts off pretty good. Right there, well, look at the front wheels. She's kind of angling up, and as it starts pulling out, she cannot hold it back. The car really loses its position on the course, but that big oversteer there that then sends the car into a mistake that's equivalent to an incomplete means that she could potentially be sitting on the well, she will be sitting on the outside unless
no, she's done.
Yeah,
you can't advance. So if
she's sitting on the outside like she can't advance.
Oh yes, so yes, and that is an incomplete. So Kelsey Rawlings will not be competing in head-to-head competition. That's all we'll see of Kelsey for the season. Unfortunately for her, she is knocked out. So next up we have Hansen, Rudy Hansen here from Pocatello, Idaho. And warming up the tires. After him, we will find out if Hooman Rahimi has gotten his car back together. There's Rudy Hansen pulling to the start line. Remember when he initiated, got too low on the bank and went off course. So let's see if Hansen can put it together here. He's supercharged 240. And here comes Rudy Hansen down the chute. Let's see what we got. Ooh, big angle there, dropping down, flirting with the edge of the course. Absolutely tearing into it. But just offline a little bit there, Ryan, or quite a bit, I should say. And then overshooting that second inside clip. crosses the finish line. So Rudy Hansen was way down there on the bank, flirting with the edge of the course, Ryan. So let's walk us through it.
Well, he corrects the mistake that led to the incomplete last time around in that section of the course. So he overcomes that. Now it's just going to be about what kind of score is going to be generated here. But I think the positions that they have to fill are enough that this is probably going to get the job done here. I'm not seeing anything that would constitute an incomplete. There's definitely some mistakes there, but it looks like he's going to be able to get a score. And he will be in one of those lower positions, but he's going to be in the show. So unless you see something that I don't, Jared, I see the judges taking another look at this. And
yeah,
I don't think I missed anything, but
like just overall, just looking at it, just running through with a fine-tooth comb. You know, here's the conundrum though. You know, Rudy's out there, he's giving his best effort, but is that a chaseable run? You know, so that's where it gets into, if it's a head-to-head battle, you know, here's TLO, right? Say he gets 32nd, here's TLO, he goes against him. That's pretty hard to follow, you know what I mean? I mean, it's not terrible, but dropping way down there, you might make a mistake.
I think that the speed is enough to where I don't think this goes into unchaseable. I think they're just looking for that part right there. Was there a big enough correction there to justify an incomplete? I say no.
Yeah, it definitely drifted, kept it consistent. It did an opposite drift, didn't do this. You know, yes, as far as ticking boxes, yeah. Just again, if I'm #1 qualifier TLO, I'm just like, oh man, that's going to be a hard act to follow. But you know, clinically, did he do what he needed to do? Line, angle, style, yes. So a 6 for line is what we're hearing. So it is scoreable. So an 18 for angle and style. 29 for style. So 6, 18, and 29 out of 40. So, and that total will be, do the math there real quick for me, 58. And that is a 53. That is a 53 for Rudy Hansen. Hansen with a 53. So he does get a score. So he will be in the show. He will be in the show as Kelsey Rawlings has the double incomplete. So that will, any driver at this point that has a score will be in the head-to-head competition. So here it is, Houman Rahimi. You could see that thing, wow, strapped back together. Hats off to him and his team for getting it back out here after a sensational incident yesterday. It looks like Houman is back up, ready to rip. And as his door says, he's only Houman. Oh, and unfortunately, he is wrong. So Ryan, TLO, he's gonna get a bye run. So that's the advantage of qualifying #1. You're gonna go straight from qualifying into tomorrow. You're gonna not see 32, you're gonna see 16. That's the first time you're gonna see head-to-head competition.
Yeah, that's a tough break there for Houman Rahimi. I mean, this all kind of fell out of yesterday's accident, hitting the wall, having to spend all night into the early hours fixing the vehicle, and unfortunately, I'm not sure that he got it back to exactly where he wanted it. But he was able to get out there, make a run, get into the broadcast, but unfortunately it is an incomplete.
Yeah, very unfortunate turn of events for him. Houman Rahimi has been progressing, and just sometimes you just have those bad weekends. And chalk this up, put it behind you, and we will see you next year, Houman Rahimi. All right, local time 4:12. We have a halftime break here. We have a halftime break, and we will be back. So as some of the hot pits areas just headed back to their standard pits. You can see how it's clearing out down there. Next up after Houman Rahimi should be Alex Licklider. And like I said, so local time for about 4:15, 4:13 to be exact. And our schedule to go to 4:45. We have our halftime break till 6:15. And we'll be back with our live stream at 7:15 local time after this commences. So we'll be seeing pro qualifying at 7:15, streamed around the globe. So Licklider warming up his tires, the JAC Motorsports FRS. Another driver that just failed to get high on the bank. Now going to step out of that Pedal Commander burnout box in a moment. And there it is. All right, let's see what Licklider's got. We are clear to send here, Ryan. Getting word from our starter. Licklider leaves the start line. Let's see if he can better his first run. This is do or die. Needs to get a run right now. Needs to get a score. See if he can keep it high. And no, that will be an incomplete. You can see on the opposite side of that track line, before Licklider goes off course, and then insult to injury does spin out. So our number 1 and now our number 2 qualifier will have a bye run. So Licklider with an incomplete. Next up, we have Lucas Torno, who called a competition timeout on his first run and unable to make it after utilizing that. So again, each driver does have the ability to utilize what's called the competition timeout. That's a 5-minute allotment. And Torno utilized that, but you only get one through the entirety of the weekend. Not one for today, one for tomorrow, one for this whole weekend. And here we go, Lucas Torno, see if he could put a run together. And Torno is clear to send. After this, we will be seeing Christian Nelson. So Torno, you wonder what happened in order to call that competition timeout. You see that initiation, grips up straight, oh boy. Oof. Now Ryan, 1 through 3 are gonna get bye runs. That will be an incomplete for Torno. Such a bummer. You want to see a full field, but again, it's
the tides turned.
Yeah,
it went from having a full field locked in and really being about positioning of that bottom 8 to now we're seeing drivers struggle mechanically in a number of different ways, and now we're getting guys that are dropping out altogether, opening up bye opportunities and potential championship implications for those top 3 drivers.
So next up will be Christian Nelson, another driver who went to a failure to launch pretty much there off of that first outside zone. So again, we are scheduled to be back online here just shy of 3 hours with our pro qualifying. This is the Type S title fight weekend. Christian Nelson, ready to leave the start line, that RTS Nissan Z.
Come on, give us some St. Louis, Christian.
Yep. Yeah, definitely had some, as you said, showed up in grand fashion in St. Louis. Are we gonna see that, Nelson, here in Irwindale? Red lights illuminate, extinguish, it's go time. The opportunity's yours, Christian Nelson. Comes out into the bank, you can see right low, very low, got that one front left off track. Now hitting that second outside zone. Some wavering, but still maintains the angle. Now that final outside zone. Yup, gets out there. So it looks like Christian Nelson will kind of forage and find himself some points. Definitely needs to better on that bank, Ryan. But outside of that, you know, there were definitely some missed opportunities. But overall, that will be scoreable.
Yeah, let's take a look here. He flirted with it, right? He got real down low. He got one tire over there. He kept angling the car, but he had some movement with those front wheels that got pretty sticky there. He's able to start kind of pulling it back together, giving himself a scoreable run up until this point without a mistake big enough to give him an incomplete. And on this last turn, he's got about 60 feet to go, gets through the course without an incomplete, giving himself a guaranteed position in the top 32.
And we have 3 drivers left: Pablo Cabrera, Carlos Arrieta, and Matthew Bystrack. And as we saw 3 incompletes, that means, excuse me, 4 incompletes. We'll be seeing 3 bye runs in the top 32 for tomorrow. And that will be a 67 for Nelson. Nelson with a 67 on his second run score. Again, can't do any better. All right, so as we are seeing Pablo Cabrera pulls up to the start line for his second run, do or die. Needs to get a score in order to see head-to-head competition. After this, Carlos Arrieta. And Cabrera, saw a mistake from him on his first run. What do we got here from the Cabrera Racing 24 vehicle? A lot more confident here. Looks like he's off on that lower portion of the track. Cabrera, very shallow, not out to the outside zone. Fluid line, but just not surgery on this track. So Cabrera does put down a complete run, but really flirting with that track edge on that bank.
Yeah, we've seen not an insignificant amount or number of drivers really get down low on that bank, and so this is going to be something to think about. I mean, that left.
Oh, really?
That left-right, excuse me, that right rear may have saved all 4, but remember, this is a 3-wheel off track.
Yeah.
And I think he might have got himself an incomplete there. Is there any verification on that?
I did overhear 3 off in between the judge and their conversation. Let's take another look at it here, Ryan. So 3 off, that would be an incomplete. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you see the right rear saves it from all 4, but that front left dipped down.
The front right. Front right dipped down.
Yes.
Left's off, left rear goes off, and then that front right goes off.
Yeah, the right rear is what did not go off.
Let's talk about what we can do and not what we can't do. So, yeah, unfortunately, Cabrera, that's going to be an incomplete, even though he does finish out the entirety of the course. So judges are taking another gander here, but it comes down to the front right. The left's definitely off course, but that front right.
That first shot, I thought, kind of sold it the most, because you basically saw the right front and the left front and then the left rear off apparently at the same time, and that's all it's going to take to get 3 off.
Yeah, so it is confirmed between the judges. It is an incomplete, so unfortunately Cabrera, that will be an incomplete. So now we are seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 bye runs in the 32. Carlos Arrieta. Carlos Arrieta coming down the mountain from Alexandria, Virginia. In Insane Ways Motorsports. Love the SC chassis. Arietta comes in. Good angle from him. Look a lot higher on the bank. Now coming into that second outside zone. Shallow. Oh man, comes unbound, and I believe that's the course edge.
Now you were trying to, I'm going to go a little strong here for you. You were trying to make the claim that one run was unchaseable. May have been
that's
unchaseable.
unchaseable.
Now,
yeah.
here's a better
for
example of that.
Yeah, Rudy Hansen's. Again, just how low he was, where he's at. And yeah, when you rotate like that, you're pretty much throwing up a roadblock.
Yeah, so I mean, we've seen runs like this kind of get into the disputed category of unchaseable or not. And usually where the marker kind of is imagine a chase driver behind that now. And he almost looks 3 off there.
He is 3 off. And that is an incomplete as well.
Wow.
So unfortunately,
on the 3 or on unchaseable? Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it is confirmed. Carlos Arietta will have an incomplete run. So
man, that's a bummer.
Look out, like you said, it compounds, and this is what Irwindale could do to you. This is what seat time can help you, and just being familiar and just this, it's a lot. Like I said, this is a pressure cooker.
So is it 4 buy runs that we have now?
Actually, 5.
Wow.
We have 5 buy runs.
We haven't seen that all year long.
Yeah, a testament to how challenging this course is. Sometimes the most important, measurement is the 6 inches in between, your ears, and just getting your mind right. Getting that confidence and throwing down. So, as Arietta completes his run, or lack thereof, unfortunately for Carlos, we see our final competitor, Matthew Bystrack. Bystrack, the Gas Factory Tire Stacks S13. Just has to get a score. Just has to get a score on the board. We have 5 incompletes. That's unofficial so far, but it's kind of me doing quick math in regards to what's going to happen as Bystrack. Let's see if this Gas Factory S chassis can throw down our final run for our Link Engine Management PROSPEC, and that's going to be a wrap. Ryan, that's going to be 6 buy runs. So Bystrack does not put a score on the board, and unfortunately, yeah, tough break for a lot of drivers.
Yeah, that's the first time all year we've seen that many buys from more than a full field. Started with 37 drivers, saw a couple no-shows, dipped that down to right around 33 or 34. And then we had a number of double incompletes, and it looks like some of the championship caliber drivers, the contenders, more or less were able to get through this qualifying unscathed. But we did see a lot of drivers struggle in certain areas of the course, and it seems like that the big bank was certainly challenging, not just the wall itself, but actually not being able to get up on the wall.
Just initiate and get the height.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, seeing that drone over at Shot, you could see the rubber absolutely laid down here. But interesting turn of events there. I mean, still, congratulations to TLO, as well as those top 5, I think it's going to be unofficially 6 drivers that will get a buy run in top 32. So Novak, Olsen, they're up there with 88s. So Brutsky, you got a lot of those heavy hitters that are going for the championship that are going to get the fast pass. So again, unofficially, the top 6 should be getting buy runs. That's my quick math. So TLO, Novak, Olsen, Sorensen, Brutsky, and Stuk.
Yeah.
They're all up in the mix. So again, that's unofficial. We'll clarify that going into tomorrow's head-to-head. So check Formula Drift's Instagram and social media networks and the website. But some great driving early on. Things kind of started to crumble a little bit. You had some drivers really step up, like Derek Madison, like you said. He didn't qualify in St. Louis. His home track, he doesn't make it, but here he steps up late in the game.
This is the last chance that you're going to have to make an impression, not only to fans, but to potential sponsors and everything that you might be preparing for going into events that we haven't been to in a year, like SEMA and PRI. So the pressure is on, and we saw the top 3 guys are going to be getting a bye. The top 3 guys in the championship position themselves so they can get a bye. So maybe that doesn't necessarily change things too much, but for for Amanda Sorensen and for other people that are not in championship contention, it's going to give them some more points to add to the end of the season, and we're probably going to see a lot of moving pieces around because of how close this championship is right now.
Yeah. And just overall, like you say, leaving that lasting impression. And TLO throws it down. He was the only driver in the 90s with that 94. And Ryan, you talked about just really rising to the occasion at such an iconic track. He's got to be over the moon.
He's killing it right now. There was a distinct difference between his driving, and that's why he got that 94. Congratulations to him. We'll be coming back here in a couple hours for Pro Knockout qualifying. And in the meantime, we're going to take a breath and go have some food.
We're going to go grab some grub and get ready for dessert. We're talking about 7:15. Join us for Pro Knockout qualifying, the House of Drift. This is the Type S title fight qualifying. We come back at 7:15.